Okay, the way we use spreadsheets as fabricators, and this is a very important skill for us to have in particular, is that we need to know the material that we're buying, material. We need to know the cost per, like how much does it cost for a chunk of wood. We need to know the number of, which is how many pieces of wood are we going to get. And then we need to get the total. And this can change pretty easily. So I'm just going to, anytime you want to do any formatting, it's no different than a Microsoft Word document. You got bold, italicized. The most important one is usually fill color because this just keeps your eyes from going crazy. And you can actually shrink and extend these cells by clicking on these borders. But let's say that I'm going to build like a doghouse or something like that. What you're going to do is you're going to have the total equals this guy times this guy, just like we did. So the cell next to it times the cell next to it. And if you push enter, it should give you a 0. Okay. And then what I like to do is for each section, I like to have the total on top because I'm always going to be adding stuff to the bottom. And I hate scrolling down 100 slides just to see a number at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is this. This is my personal choice. I use this little field right above. And what I do is I change the color to red because that's how much it costs. And I'm going to say equals, just like we learned, sum, parentheses, drag this all the way down. Okay, so now this little red box is going to equal the sum of all the numbers in this row. So let's say material, we need 2x4 wood. I don't know what the cost for a 2x4 is anymore. It's like 16 bucks. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this. If you click on the row, this is called a column, and this is called a row. And if you click on the column, and you can apply stuff to it. So I'm going to click on this $sign, which means format as currency. So now whenever I type in a number, let's say that it costs 16, it's going to turn into $1. So doghouse, I'm going to estimate that I'm going to need what? Let's say that I just estimate that I need like 15 2x4s of wood. That's already coming in at a solid $250, right? Let's say I need like roofing nails, and then the cost for that is like $10 for a pack of 1. Now you notice nothing's happening in these right here. What I have to do is I have to take that formula which says the cell next to me times the cell next to that. So I have to click on this little blue corner, drag it all the way down, get a bunch of zeros, and now anything I put in here starts adding up. Caulk to seal. Caulk is like what, 12 bucks? I don't really know. Let's get 2 of those. And what you can see is that this lets me put everything out and say, okay, what if I don't buy as much wood? Will it cost me less? It lets you really, really play with the numbers and see what's going on, because you ask your uncle how much he's going to pay you, right? And then I always do that in green. So your uncle's like, I'll give you 500 bucks to make a doghouse, right? So this green one is the cost of, this is what you got. This is how much it costs so far. I'm going to do us all a favor and say this slide right here equals this guy minus what it costs. So right now we're still at 258, right? But this is where it gets interesting. So this is what's left over. But then what we're going to do is we're going to start doing some other types of calculations. So wood, roofing nails, caulk to seal. You probably need some paint. Paint can be what, 10 bucks for a gallon. I don't know what color this doghouse is going to be. You probably need, you need to think of a lot of things. If you don't have files, if you don't have hammers, if you have to buy any tools, so let's say buy a hammer. You guys don't got a hammer right now, so it's going to be easily $16 for like a crazy ass hammer. This starts adding up and your money starts going down. So I'm going to make this yellow because we have to be careful that this doesn't drop too low. Okay. So then what I would do, so let's see, is there anything else? Can you guys think of anything else that a doghouse needs? Whoops. Besides a dog. It might need a, oh, he's going to be like, oh, can you get one of those posts that you put in front of it? Like those little screw posts for the thing, right? Post for leash. And you're like, okay, man, but those are like, you know, $18 for one. You keep typing this out, and you can very easily see where all your money's going. And it's decreasing quickly. And then, so the next thing I'm going to do, so let's pretend that this is everything that we need to buy. And if you ever need to add more rows, all you have to do is right-click on the row and say Insert one below. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put another little table into here, and these are all custom. You can design these however you want. This is just the format that I like. What I'm going to say is process, hours estimated. So yeah. So here's where it really starts getting interesting, and this is where everybody actually loses money because they're not really thinking. All right. Do you guys have all this stuff at your house? No. Trip to hardware store. All right. Trip to hardware store. How long is it going to take you? That's always an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? Let's just say 2 hours, okay? So what I'm going to do, okay, so now I got this number right here. This is all the money I have left, right? Oh, whoops, I'm going to take this, I'm going to unformat the money real quick and say, format, I'm going to say clear formatting so there's no $sign right here. The green is what they've offered to give you. That's the money. The red is the materials cost. The yellow is what's left over, and we're going to very quickly see how the yellow disappears. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to insert one more row. What I'm going to do is say that this cell right here is also yellow, because I just like it when my eyes do the same thing. So this cell is equal to the sum, which is the only function that we really ever use, of every number that is in this row. And that's my hours, okay? And this is, let's make this clear formatting, okay. Okay, clear formatting equals sum, all these hours. Okay. Why will it not turn to more formats? So I'm just going to say number. Okay. So trip to the hardware store, 2 hours. You're already 2 hours down, right? Gas to get to hardware. What's that? $4 of gas? I mean, oh wait, so actually, sorry, that's in the wrong thing. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to add the gas to get to the hardware store. I'm going to say it's $5 of gas times 1. So that's going to lower my, that's going to drop the red number. See, so every time I think of something I have to buy, it goes into this list. Every time I think of something that takes up my time, it goes into this list. All right. Let's make, I don't know why it's not clear the formatting. We go like this, format as a number, number. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so trip to hardware store. Let's say that you get there and get back in 2 hours and nothing goes wrong, right? Okay, now you got to cut all the wood. And what you can do here is you can always put notes. So you can look at your drawing and say, okay, I'm going to have to cut, there's something called comments or notes. You can either put a comment on it or you can insert a note. And the note says, I'm going to have to cut like, you know, so how many we bought? 13 pieces of 2x4s. I'm going to have to make 3 cuts on each one, and then that's going to be, you know, a total of, let's say I have to cut 10 of them, so that's like 30 cuts, right? So here in the hours estimated, this is where you get to do the cool stuff. So you can say, okay, equals. How long does it take me to cut a single piece of wood? Let's say like marking it up, whatever, it takes me 5 minutes, right? So 5 minutes times how many cuts do I have to make per piece of wood? 3 cuts times 10 pieces of wood. So that's all of that in minutes. So it's 150 minutes. So I'm going to do all of that divided by 60 to get me hours. What's going on here? There you go. So what you can do is you can use parentheses to keep things separated, just like we learned way back in the day. So this is how many minutes, I divided by 60. If the wood shop is open, it's going to take me 2 hours just to cut all the wood. So now we're at 450. I'm going to turn this guy yellow. So we're already at 5 hours, and we haven't even started building the thing. Oh, and you have to design the damn thing, right? The thing. That takes some time, right? So designing the thing, let's say they give you the sketches. Like even if you're CAD wizards, a doghouse design, because you're going to do it in 3D so you can see all the wood because it's easier for you that way. They think it's really advanced. But, you know, even for me, like with all the messing around, that's going to be, let's just say 3 or 4 hours. I'm going to say it's 4 hours, right? Now, if you do at a project rate, you'll notice, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to divide this number by how many hours we're working. We're at a very nice 25 an hour. It's not too bad, but it's not going to last because watch, let's say I cut all the wood. Then I need to assemble, you guys make IKEA furniture, right? Mm-hmm. How long does an IKEA desk take to actually put together? We had Darius doing it upside down, right? So if I'm actually sitting there nailing this thing together, that's honestly a 5-hour job. So if you're like smart and don't mess up the thing together, 5 hours. Ooh, suddenly you're making $15 an hour. Not looking so hot, is it? Now the cool thing is, while we're doing all of this, I can say, you know what, I can't do it for 500, but if you gave me 750, what would it look like? You can type that up here, and everything gets affected. Boom. Suddenly, you're back up to making $34 an hour. All right, so this is how spreadsheets work. You're going to sit there, and you're going to come up with every little thing. It seems like a big pain in the butt, like driving to the store, paying for the gas at the store, the hot dog I ate while I was working, you know. But that's money. That's leaving your pocket, and if you're not careful, that is this little yellow box right here diminishes pretty quickly. Nailing the thing together. Okay, painting. By the way, did you know that you had to sand the thing, right? Sanding takes 2 hours to get all the thing, like even if it's nice. Then you have to paint. And how long does painting take? Because you can put down one coat, and it has to be in a garage, and then you have to wait for like an hour and a half at least, right? Sometimes you have to wait for 6 hours, depends. So suddenly you're knocking your price down to, again, another $27 an hour. Now, sometimes we're desperate and we'll do work for anything. This is how you keep yourself, because everybody thinks, like when I say, hey, let's go make something on the CNC, everybody thinks, oh, I can see myself doing that in my head. Yeah, I'll do, you know, that sounds like, and you're like, oh, I'll give you $300. And you're like, whoa, that sounds like a lot for me to just go run the machine cut. It's like, but you've got to actually write down what every step is, because what really starts getting complicated is let's finish this video. We'll switch to kind of an hourly model using this spreadsheet, okay? So next video is an hourly model.